Okay, guys. Tonight, I want to talk about political brainwashing. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times in politics, most people only get their information from one source, and online it's a little bit better. People advise people to get their information from other sources, and there's a good reason why. Because I'll use my mother for an example. One week, she was going on about how CNN's fake news because all the Trump and Russia stories. Then the next week, she's like, I'm so scared about the Trump-Russia stories. And I asked her, why? You know it's not real. And she says, because they keep talking about it. Because they don't stop talking about it. Now, this is political brainwashing. It's a brainwashing tactic to where if you tell someone something enough times, they will believe it. So, if you give your information from one source, then you will start believing everything they say. You're going to start thinking that exact way. It's very good to challenge these ideas by occasionally going over to some other place. Like me, I usually watch Fox News, but I'm not afraid to turn on CNN. I usually laugh at them a little bit. But to turn on someone I completely disagree with. And it's good to be able to argue with them, with yourself. And what I mean by that is to be strong politically, you have to be able to destroy their argument yourself. You can't just say, oh, well, they said this, so I'm going to go to this person, and then they'll destroy that argument for me. I don't have to think for myself. You have to be able to think politically for yourself, because if you can do that, then you're thinking clearly your own way. Don't use just stock arguments. Like a lot of people just use stock arguments that they've heard someone else say without just thinking deeper. And it's terrible. It's terrible. It leads to terrible arguments. And I usually have fun arguing any point of view. I like to argue. So, whenever even someone I agree with, if they say something, I'll argue against it. If it's something I agree with. Just to see how far they can go. And if you want to be political, you always want to know your opposing political ideals. That way you can argue against them. You see, whenever you blindside someone, they don't know how to react. They don't know what to say. They're just blindsided. They have no idea. However, to know your enemy is to know how to defeat them. So if you know every single argument your opponent is about to spit out at you, because they're all stock arguments, and you can destroy every single one as far as they can go, you win. However, it depends on which side you're arguing from. Republicans usually use logic and reason to come to their conclusions. Democrats usually use emotions. And that's not in all cases. Some Democrats use logic and reasoning, and some Republicans use emotion. However, it usually ends up that way because of just the way you think. So, whenever forming your argument against someone, it's very important to add a little bit of the opposing side's narrative into your own. Because then, even if someone disagrees with you on a lot of things, they can still come back to that and agree with you on that. Because if you can incorporate some of your opponent's ideas into your own argument, you win. Because they 99% of the time won't be able to do that. You take the weapon out of their hand, and they have no way to fight back. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say tonight, because a lot of people don't think for themselves nowadays. They just listen to whatever someone on the TV said or someone else said. And I understand, today we have a lot of stuff, but as we move on, we'll have more free time. But have a good night or day, y'all.